Welcome to the Economy Magazine. I'm Binyamin Tjong-Alvares with the top economic reports. Coming up, as Gaza's potable water runs out, innovative engineers may have the solution. And U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders' highlight campaign financing controversy. First headlines. Bonds dropped globally with Japanese yields jumping the most in 2 years and German 10-year yields near the highest for 2015. European stocks fell in line with the higher Bund yield as the Europe 600 index dropped 1.4%, while the euro climbed 0.6% in morning trade. Bonds worldwide have been under pressure pushed by a rise in crude oil and an anticipated rate hike in the U.S. In Israel, long-term bonds saw the sharpest drop in 30 years as yields spiked as much as 4.5% in 1 week. Global oil giant Royal Dutch Shell received conditional approval for its multi-year exploration plan in the Arctic seas. Shell plans to drill 2 wells in the Chukchi Sea off the northwest coast of Alaska, starting on July 15th. The Bureau of Ocean Energy Management accepted Shell's plan to drill up to 6 wells after concluding it would not cause any significant impact to the environment. Environmental groups condemned the U.S. government's approval, stressing the region's importance to the global ecosystem. And some analysts argue that competition from shale production in the U.S. will make Arctic oil unprofitable for a long time to come. Morgan Stanley sold its physical oil business for an estimated $1 billion to Castleton Commodities International. The long-awaited deal ends the Wall Street Bank's 30-year history as a major player in physical oil markets. The global oil merchanting unit traded around 2 million barrels of crude and oil products daily over the past 5 years and has 45 oil storage leases for 30 million barrels in the U.S. and Europe. Morgan Stanley maintains its client-facing oil trading business, including both physical and paper transactions. An Iranian airline with presumed links to the Revolutionary Guard defied international sanctions to buy jets worth more than $300 million. Main Air is suspected of using small Iraqi airline Al Nasil as a front in more than a year of brokering to purchase the passenger jets. A Main Air board member acknowledged the purchase, but its alleged Iraqi accomplice denied being involved. Main Air has been accused of providing weapons to the Syrian regime and of supporting the Revolutionary Guard's ballistic missile program. But unless the U.S. takes action, Main Air's breach of U.S. sanctions may discredit them altogether, as less Western companies are deterred from doing business with Iran. Drinking water in the Hamas-controlled Gaza Strip has increasingly become polluted as groundwater levels decline. And as the poorly managed water supply is expected to dry up by 2020, one local engineer has pioneered a machine to make seawater potable for residents of the coastal region. Here's the report.
Everyone in the Palestinian Gaza Strip knows that the water here is polluted. Local authorities say that as much as 97% is too dangerous for consumption. Sewage has contaminated supplies, and an Israeli blockade has pushed the situation to crisis point. During last summer's 50-day war between Israel and Hamas, over 300 kilometers of water networks here were damaged or destroyed.
The water here is salty, like seawater, and smells like sewage. It's not suitable for food, cooking, or even to wash with.
Two local engineers say that they have the answer. They've built a machine to make seawater potable for everyone in the coastal territory. It can treat 1,000 cubic meters a day, a drop in the ocean considering Gaza consumes 180 million cubic meters of water per year. The team is seeking $300 million to build a water treatment plant that has a much greater capacity.
We've managed to find a practical application you can use to desalinate water and seawater. We hope that officials will adopt this project later on and build large plants to desalinate seawater with this technology.
Gaza relies on the underlying coastal aquifer, the layer beneath the surface that contains groundwater. But experts warn it could be unusable as early as 2016, as groundwater levels decline and seawater infiltrates. With no perennial streams and low rainfall, there are no other natural alternatives.
We have a problem with natural resources. The production capacity of the aquifer should not exceed 55 to 60 million cubic meters per year, but now we're extracting about 200 million cubic meters. So we should stop depending on this reservoir and find alternative sources.
While residents wait for a solution, many rely on street sellers who provide filtered water. The Gaza Strip is home to just under 2 million people. The UN says the population will grow by almost another 500,000 over the next 5 years. By then, the local supply of drinking water is expected to dry up.
Channel 2 correspondent Noah Olon joins us now for a look at apps and innovation in the startup nation. Hi, Ms. Olon, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Well, I want to start off with photography, using your cell phone. We all love taking selfies, but
we all love ourselves.
Yeah, of course. But the only problem with the selfie is that whenever you take it, there's always someone's arm there, right? You can't really take it right.
Unless you have long arms like I do.
Or you have the selfie stick. That's another, right. Another solution. But an Israeli app called Cami is trying to solve that. And what they do is they use gesture recognition with your phone, and it's a very simple app. What it allows you to do is you can just put your phone up to 5 meters away, and you just use your hand gesture with your fist. You could just do something like that, and it will tell the app to take that photo. It will start a countdown, like the old cameras.
Like the old cameras, right?
But with
without having to run back and forth.
Exactly. So it just starts the countdown, and then it takes your photo. So that's a really cool solution. I want to move on to another cool app related to photography, and that's for true photography lovers. So the new smartphones have all these kinds of features that allow you to take really cool photos, I mean, different things that it has. But the only problem is that not all of us are really good photographers. So I don't know what about you. I have friends who are really pros. I mean, whenever they upload a picture, it's always amazing, and not all of us know how to take it right. So Camera 51 is an Israeli app that is trying to solve that. It's basically a photography instructor within the app, so it can tell you exactly how to take a picture. It tells you how to correct it according to daylight, or where exactly you should move your camera so you would have the right object at the right spot, and then you would take the perfect photo. It's
sort of like the way, if you take a picture today, it sort of puts the little square on the face telling you, hey, you got a picture of a person here.
But this one has more features.
Going way beyond that.
Exactly.
Okay.
So now I want to move on to a completely different subject.
Okay.
We all love using our credit cards, but still a lot of vendors don't use credit cards. They still use cash. I mean, if you go to the beach, you go to the park, you want to pay, I don't know, a balloon seller or something.
Yeah, you want to buy ice cream for the kids or whatever.
Exactly, you have to use cash. So Sling is trying to solve that, and what they have is they have these really cool armbands, or these little stickers that they have a QR code on them, and basically the vendor should wear this or put the stickers wherever he wants. And what you can do is, as a buyer, you can just scan that. I mean, you have to download the app, of course. You can scan it, and then you can transfer the payment to that vendor.
You scan the picture. I mean, you scan the picture on the sticker, or you scan with the bracelet, like either one?
You can either or. It's the same. It's the same QR code for both of them. And you can just scan it and choose the amount that you want to pay, and you just pay the vendor through that, and it goes directly to their PayPal account, and again from your PayPal account. So it's just it's a very cool solution for business owners, especially for micro businesses, so they can actually use the app instead of using cash.
Oh, sounds great. I guess hopefully they will actually spread enough so that people can actually use it too.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Noah Alon from Channel 2. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much.
Senator Bernie Sanders stands out from his fellow Democrats who seek to represent the party in next year's elections. A self-described socialist from Vermont, Sanders' campaign has further highlighted controversy surrounding campaign financing. I-24 News journalist Daniel Roth has the story.
Although Hillary Clinton is the clear front-runner for the Democrats in the race to decide on the party's U.S. presidential nominee for 2016, the 73-year-old independent senator from Vermont and self-described socialist, Bernie Sanders, may give her a run for her money. His agenda focuses on rebuilding long-neglected infrastructure, pushing climate change as an economic issue, and American jobs, noting that while numbers have gotten better since the crisis began in 2008, inequality continues to grow.
How does it happen that the top 1% owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. And my conclusion is that that type of economics is not only immoral, it's not only wrong, it is unsustainable. It can't continue.
While Clinton has been flexing her left muscles in these early days of the campaign, Sanders is outspoken and situated well to her left. His ongoing push for what he calls more fair economics has struck a deep chord.
All of the mainstreamers are taking large amounts of money in order to get there. I do like a lot of Bernie Sanders. He's an independent. I like a lot of what he's done in the past.
Sanders' campaign raised $1.5 million in its first 24 hours and doubled it over the next 3 days. These are amounts that beat a number of other primary campaigns. Sanders' campaign has focused on grassroots fundraising, but even his top large-scale contributors are mainly unions, while others list major banks and corporations. Indeed, campaign finance reform has become a major concern for Sanders.
We now have a political situation where billionaires are literally able to buy elections and candidates. Let's not kid ourselves. That is the reality right now. So you got the Koch brothers and other billionaire families now prepared to spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in elections to buy the candidates of their choice, often extreme right-wing candidates.
Senator Sanders has made a career of winning races by openly and honestly communicating his brand of socialism to voters. And although most see his presidential bid as a long shot, his history suggests that he's worth keeping an eye on.
And I-24 News journalist Daniel Roth joins us now for more on the U.S. elections as discussed in the newspapers in Media Watch. Daniel, thanks for joining us. Good, good, good. So more on Bernie Sanders?
Yes, so Bernie Sanders, a lot of people are discounting him. A lot of people aren't, though. More and more people. One of the big stories of his campaign so far, which is in week 2, of course. Yeah. Week 2, a year before the election, a year and a half before the elections. But he's got lots of small donors. More than 50%, 60% of his donors are $0 to $200 or 1 cent to $200 donors. It's under 10%, some tiny number for Hillary Clinton. So he's really getting this grassroots excitement. And some of the reason for this is his outspokenness, as I said in the report, is socialist, outspoken, attacking Hillary on the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, saying this is a job killer, something that nobody out there is really saying.
Of course, his words are falling on fertile ground, considering that the economy has been in such a terrible situation for, since 2008, 2007.
Absolutely, and so it's may be, as you said, fertile ground for a candidate who's honest and open and willing to kind of say the things that are being said on the street, but out on the news cameras, out on the podiums, and that's really what he's representing right now, is someone who's speaking truth to power. And so, there's a lot to say about him.
And he's a self-described socialist?
Yeah, he's a self-described socialist. He is actually a folk singer originally, who became the mayor of Burlington, who became a member of Congress, who became the senator, and now, and he won all these races against all odds.
How does a self-described socialist get into this race for the presidential nomination? I mean, it's quite exceptional, no?
Well, throughout the 20th century, there's been a number of socialist candidates. So he's definitely not the first one, but it's very exciting because there's really a mass movement growing behind him.
The time is ripe, you say?
The time is ripe, exactly.
We've had a black president, and now we might have a female president or a socialist president.
Yeah, there's a lot of different sectors at work here. A lot of different voices being heard than you might have seen in between 1950 and 2000.
Sure. What else are we talking about here?
Carly Fiorina,
of course,
who is former HP CEO. She is running on her business background, the opposite of Bernie Sanders, who's she's running on this background of, I was a CEO of tens of billions of dollar company. Now, there's a lot of questions about her. Of course, she failed to buy hername.org, carlyfiorina.org. someone else bought it up and put 30,000 francs saying this represents all the layoffs while you were the CEO. How do you think you can be president? How do you think that this can come to pass?
Right.
Now, one of the big questions is that the stocks went up when she stepped down from her position as CEO. So a lot of people are saying, well, you laid off 30,000 people. You may have a lot of management experience, but is it good experience?
Right. What do you have to actually show for your ability to lead the country, so to speak?
Absolutely. And so there's a lot of questions surrounding it.
Okay. Well, thanks, Daniel Roth, for giving us more information. I'm sure we'll be talking about this a lot.
Thanks.
That concludes your Economy Magazine, your daily source for economic and financial reports at I-24 News. I'm Binyamin Tjong-Alvares. Thanks for joining us, and join us again tomorrow.